So, what's the real difference between being protected and just being possessed? Today, we're diving into the Supreme Alpha's Omega Ward. And let me tell you, this story really gets into that question. It kicks off with this incredibly brutal public shaming and ends up sparking a revolution that completely redefines what identity even means. This line right here, this is the heart of the whole story. It's set at a moment of just absolute rock bottom, and it flips the entire script. It's this idea that strength isn't something you have to find all on your own. It's something that can actually grow and thrive once you're finally safe. This is the promise that changes absolutely everything. But before we can get to that promise, we have to understand the world it was spoken into, and it is a brutal one. We start in the Hollow Fang Pack, a society where tradition has basically become a weapon, and the stakes, well, they're life, death, and dignity itself. Okay, so at the very center of this world's social structure is the rank of Omega. And you gotta understand, this isn't just a role someone plays. It's seen as a pre-written destiny, one of weakness and submission. Getting this is so important because the entire point of this story is to take that definition and to shatter it. So, the story opens with our protagonist, an Omega named Aelion, being publicly punished. And his crime? It was a relationship he had in the past that broke the pack's really rigid rules. He is literally being burned for who he once chose to love. It's all designed to remind everyone of the pack's brutal hierarchy. And this quote from the Luna, she's the pack's matriarch, it is just chilling. I mean, listen to the victim blaming there. She says Elion seduced someone with weakness, like his very nature is some kind of shameful weapon. It just perfectly shows you how twisted this pack's ideology really is. Just as the punishment is hitting its absolute cruelest point, everything changes. A figure just emerges from the shadows, a supreme alpha named Kalen. Now, this guy has immense power, the kind that rules over destinies, not just little packs. And he just walks right into the middle of this whole ritual without a hint of fear. And with this one line, he makes it all clear. Kalen isn't there to take over. He's there because an injustice is happening. He's not another tyrant. He's basically a higher authority stepping in where morality has completely failed. By claiming Elion as his ward, he just flips the whole situation on its head in an instant. So while the immediate physical danger is gone, the real battle, it's just getting started. The fight for Ilion's freedom now moves out of that ring of fire and into a tribunal, where laws and lies become the new weapons. So Theron, Elion's ex-partner, can't get him back by force anymore. So what does he do? He gets strategic. He weaponizes their son, filing for custody and using the pack's prejudice against Omegas to paint Elion as unstable and unfit. And this right here lays out the core conflict of the entire story so perfectly. This isn't just a fight between two alphas. It is a clash between two completely different ideas of what power is. On one side, you've got Thrawn, whose power is all about possession and control. And on the other, you have Kalen, whose power is about protection and freedom. That is the central battle. And then, in the middle of all this legal maneuvering and power playing, we get this. The testimony from Elion's son. It's so simple, isn't it? So pure. And it just cuts through all the noise. It reframes the whole argument around one simple emotional truth. Who makes me feel safe? Just when it looks like things might be settled, the old guard plays their last card. The Luna pulls out proof of a hidden magical bond that still ties Elion to Theron. It's their last desperate move. A claim that he can never really be free because magic itself binds him to his past. And this part is so brilliant because it shows Elion's transformation. He isn't saved by Kalen here. He saves himself. He takes that scroll, the physical symbol of his oppression, and he literally tears it in half. The magic screams, the bond shatters. It is such a powerful symbolic moment of him taking his own freedom back. Okay, so running alongside this main plot is this other fascinating little story that really drives home the central theme in a super clever way. It's the story of a young boy named Rowan, and it acts like a powerful mirror to what Elion is going through. So here's the quick version. Rowan keeps insisting his dad is in Delta Force. The school thinks he's a liar and wants to expel him. Elion sees what's happening, a familiar injustice, and he defends the kid. And then, in the most spectacular way possible, Rowan's father literally drops out of the sky in a black helicopter, proving his son was telling the truth all along. So, why this detour? I mean, what does a kid with a Delta Force dad have to do with werewolves and magic? Well, the answer is everything. It gets right to the heart of the whole narrative. Because Rowan's stories is Elvian's story, just in miniature. They are both being punished for a truth that the system finds inconvenient or just plain unbelievable. For Rowan, it's who his father is. For Elvian, it's his own worth and his right to be free. This subplot just hammers home that justice isn't always about being right, it's about being believed. And all of this leads to the final act, where the personal fight and the political one just collide. The climax isn't just about one man's freedom anymore. It's about how that freedom ends up sparking a revolution that shatters the very foundation of their world. Even after being totally defeated, the Luna has one last poison arrow left to fire. From her prison, she uses an old rite that lets her reveal a sacred history, and she aims it squarely at breaking the trust between Alion and Colin. And there it is, the accusation. She claims that Kalin once had another Omega mate who died, and that he only chose Alion because he was a replacement, a painful echo of a past love. It is just a devastatingly cruel and clever attack. And for a second, it just hangs there in the air. Is it possible? Is Kalen's protection just him working through his own grief? Was this whole journey built on a lie? It's the ultimate test of faith for Alion, forcing him to question the one person who finally made him feel safe. But while the adults are trapped in their past, the future interrupts them. The real climax isn't about the Luna's lie. It's about a prophecy being fulfilled through Elion's son. He steps forward, his eyes start glowing violet, and everything just stops. And with that one statement, their world breaks. He's not one thing or the other. He is something totally new, a combination that defies all the rigid boxes their society uses. The prophecy was never about a new ruler. It was about a new way of being, a paradigm shift that makes their whole hierarchy totally obsolete. And this brings us to the final, really powerful takeaway, which is spoken years later by that same child who's now a leader. The ultimate lesson of this whole journey is that identity isn't some cage you're born into. It's a story. And the most powerful thing you can ever do is decide to write a new one.